Good morning. It is day 161 and we are packing up and getting ourselves ready to eat breakfast and then hitting the trail. We are heading north from where we started at our South Point yesterday, and looking forward to another 16-miler day. So excited about getting back on the trail and continuing north. The days are getting shorter and our time is getting shorter and closer to Katahdin, so it stems up a little bit more endorphins and excitement. So we're trying to get ourselves amped up here and hoping to get my feet loosened up a little bit more before I get my shoes and socks on. Breakfast of champions this morning. It is 8:26 and we are getting ready to head north. We have 16.3 to go today, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. We got on trail today at Flagstaff, and that's right at mile 2025.8, I think. I know it's 2025. And then we're heading north from this point on. No more southbounding. And no more slack packing. That was our last slack pack yesterday. So hopefully tomorrow morning we'll have pancake breakfast if we get there in time to get our names in before his quota has been met tonight. Then tomorrow morning we can head over to Harrison's and get pancake breakfast. Our climbs from here on out are not going to be 4,000 footers, and but we'll still have, I counted, I think last night, 13 summits that we have between here and Katahdin, but there's still other climbs in between that. So it's crazy. We were driving over here to look at the Bigelows and see how high up that was, and that we were up there yesterday. I'm kind of mind-blowing. I am glad that this mud is drying up some. That has changed quite a bit since New Hampshire and southern Maine. We just finished our first climb of the day. We'll go down and go right back up. But this is what the trail looks like today. It's a cool morning, so it makes it comfortable. So the hostel we stayed in was called the Maine Hostel, and it was really nice. It was very clean. I showed you some video the other day. Came out to like just under $50 a night with the hiker discount. And then for the shuttle, we did 2 shuttles, so it came out to like $50 a person. So that wasn't bad. And our breakfast this morning was delicious. The Maine Roadhouse hostel has a big breakfast spread with eggs, sausage, that kind of stuff. But what we had was, I thought, great. We had homemade bread, muffins, hard-boiled eggs, bagels, juice, coffee, tea. And today they had watermelon, strawberries, they had bananas, oranges, apples. So I thought it was perfect. I think if I would have eaten everything that maybe the Roadhouse offered, I might not be able to get on the trail and hike. So, but we'll find out because tomorrow's breakfast is going to be pancakes, eggs, sausage, stuff like that at the Harrison Pond Fish Camp or something like that. So, today is going to be another beautiful day. We won't have the views that we did yesterday, but it'll be nice to get another 16-mile day in. It's been a while since we've been able to put in those kind of miles. We are on the backside of the mountain that we just climbed, and that was our biggest climb of the day. It was a 2,000-foot peak, but we did not climb 2,000 feet to get to it, so it was pretty easy. And that would be our biggest climb of the day. Don't know if it'll be our toughest climb, but looks like the rest of the trail for today is just a rolling trail. So don't know how much videotaping I'll do, just because it pretty much just looks like this with a couple muddy spots here and there. But I was thinking a few minutes ago about the New Hampshire section of this trail, and that was the toughest state for me by far. It really challenged me, and I'm glad I took a couple days to process New Hampshire once we were out of it, but I loved the views. The climbs were really tough for me. I probably struggled more in that state than any other state. I was definitely emotional during that state. I just really felt defeated at times, and just struggled with how slow I was, how much I was falling. I felt old and out of shape, and definitely didn't boost my confidence up while I was going through it. I'm proud of myself for accomplishing that now that it's over, but as I was going through it, it was a struggle. It didn't break me, but it sure bent me in lots of different directions. So, but there were also, like, Franconia Ridge, my absolute favorite part. Loved that trail and loved those peaks. And I loved getting to Mount Washington. Didn't enjoy getting to the north side of it. That was one of my least favorite sections. Mount Madison I didn't really enjoy. That was really stressful for me. But I'm on the other side of it now. We are going to be at Kennebec River for that canoe over the river tomorrow. And so we are making progress. And it's just hard to believe that we're as close as we are, and that we actually got to see Mount Katahdin yesterday from the Bigelows. So just trying to keep it real, let you guys know the struggle that I had in New Hampshire. This struggle was real, and my family was amazing. They just kind of waited for me when I was slower than they were, and didn't get frustrated with that. Whoops. Ooh, I caught myself. Yesterday, I almost had the biggest wipeout of my entire trip here, but somehow I danced my way out of it, and was very fortunate and felt very grateful that I didn't tumble. So, all right, enough of me rambling. I need to pick up my speed and get back up with the rest of them. We got a little rock crossing here. We are taking a little side trail to the West Carey Pond lean-to. We think all need a privy break, but we're covering some ground today. We just went through a pretty muddy patch, and so, but the trail's been pretty good to us today. We're right by a pretty big pond. Hopefully we'll have access to it so we can enjoy the view. Here's the lean-to. This has a little bit of history on it, and so I'm going to take a picture close up and post it for you to see, but it's very cool. We just got done doing about an hour and 45 minutes of mud hopping, and now I have this nice pine surface to hike on, and this sun feeding us some vitamin D. We're going to eat lunch at a beach on one of these ponds. They're absolutely beautiful. In Florida, I would call this a lake. It's pretty big, but the ponds up here, there's so much water up here in Maine. Here's a little bit more of that mud, but it was just nonstop. So hopping on rocks, on boards, on roots to get around it, but I didn't do a very good job. Check this out. We got a boardwalk. Haven't seen one of these in quite some time. And it's in pretty good shape. Look at that beautiful blue sky. Here we are at our lunch spot. It is 1:37. It is a sandy beach, and it is absolutely beautiful. Lunchtime. Lunchtime is over. We are headed back to the trail. We have 6.2 miles to go to get to our lean-to for the night. And I took my shoes off. I put my feet in the water. It was magical. This, I vote, the #1 lunch spot for the entire Appalachian Trail. For me. Listen to that water lapping the shores. Here's our after lunch trail. We are away from the pond. I would call it a lake, but it was beautiful either way, regardless what you call it. And now we've gotten away from the mud for a little bit, and just clocking the miles. We hit another one of these boardwalks, which I really enjoy. But no buffalo. Oh, not buffalo, no moose. I don't know, I have buffalo on the brain for some reason. Beautiful forest. We've been going through this kind of stuff all afternoon. We've just arrived at the Pierce Pond lean-to / shelter. We're going to go ahead and get set up and then head over to the fish camp to put our reservations in for breakfast tomorrow. Here's a closer look at the shelter. We have already set up all of our stuff in the shelter. We got there a little bit before 5, so we did great time today. And now Phoenix and I are heading over to the Harrison Pierce Pond Camp, which is a fish camp, fish and hunting camp, I believe. And it's 0.3 from our campsite, the lean-to that we're in, which is Pierce Pond Lean-to. And we are putting our reservations in for breakfast tomorrow morning. So I'm not sure if I should have brought my at least one trekking pole or not, but I didn't. And so we are walking along the river, taking a blue blaze there so that we don't have to ford the river, because there is a bridge up here that we can go over. So, and then tomorrow morning, he opens at 7. I think he takes 9 or 15. I can't remember the number. Imagine that. I'm sure you're surprised. People that he'll feed. And he gives you 12 pancakes for $11. Or you can get the works, which is, I think, eggs, bacon, and potatoes for like an extra $1, or maybe an extra $3 or $4. So it's either $11 for just the pancakes, $12 for the works, or $15 for the works. But we'll find out soon, because we're headed that way right now. I'll turn this around and show you part of the trail. Here's the little bridge that we get to go over to get to his camp. Oh, there's another bridge. This is not the bridge, I think, that is saving us from fording. But it might be. I don't know. We'll see. It looks like he's building his own bridge out of fallen logs. This is Kate, and she is from Colby, right?
Yes.
And university?
It's just Colby College.
Colby College, okay. I'm not from this area,
No,
so I'm
no
not familiar.
worries. We're in the middle of Maine.
You've got a whole bunch of people down there.
Yes.
Can you tell us what you guys are doing?
So I am a junior. My partner over here is a junior too, but we are leading a COOT. It's a Colby outdoor orientation trip.
Okay.
So it's these guys, like, basically their second night of college. They moved in yesterday.
Okay.
And we take them outside for 3 days. It's kind of a bonding experience for all of them, just to come back to school and have like 7 other people that they can talk to, and that they've kind of, I don't know, I think it's kind of like a deep breath after the craziness of the summer before your freshman year of college and that move-in day. But yeah.
Right. And so how many of the people, so there's how many freshmen with you guys
There
today?
are 8 freshmen.
There's 8 freshmen.
Yes.
And so what you said that there's a couple different options they can choose.
Yes. So basically at the beginning of the summer they get, or when they're enrolled, they get a survey that's like, oh, here's my experience in the outdoors, here's what I really don't want to do. So if like one of these kids was like, oh my god, I really don't want to, like, there are ones that are kind of back on campus, they're still outside and exploring, but it's like, oh, you're doing yoga on the lawn versus like being out here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so some of these kids were like, oh yeah, I said I didn't want to do rafting, I said I didn't want to do like stand-up paddleboarding, but there are things like that. Like there's a canoe camping trip, there's like base camp trips where they're staying at a cabin and then go hike during the day, but then there's a lot of backpacking too.
Right. And how many of the students that you guys have prior backpacking experience? Do you know?
I would say like half of them.
Okay.
On this one, that it kind of runs the gamut though. Like I did this when I was a freshman, and like I had prior experience. I think there's a good handful. Colby definitely attracts more of like an outdoorsy kid crowd just because of like our location.
Right.
But yeah, I think like it's also introducing kids to new skills.
Right.
I mean, like even like setting up the tarps, setting up the stoves. Like a lot of them haven't done that before.
Now, do they all cook their own meals, or do you guys do a community
We
meal?
kind of just do a community thing.
Okay.
Like they can help us if they want. I think tonight was more like our first. We were only out here for 2 nights.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I was like, does anybody want to help me cut this or cook this or stir this? And like, they all kind of. If one of them is really, really like enthusiastic about cooking, of course we'll let them cook.
Right. Now, and you said that every freshman that comes on campus is going to be involved in one of these.
Yes. So it doesn't matter.
Orientation kind of activities.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're like an athlete or anything like that. Like one of our girls is a track athlete.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, you have to go on one of these.
Oh, that's
unless
really cool.
you have like COVID or something
Right.
that really debilitates you from going on it.
Right.
But yeah, so like every kid gets placed on one of these trips, and it's a huge, like, extensive process. There are like, I think 3 people that work on it over the summer, and then there's a whole committee that like places people into trips.
Wow.
And also like places people into kind of like kids that aren't experienced with a few that are experienced.
Right.
Same with like, just you want that diversity.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think they do a lot of hard
Right.
work. And then we have been here since the 19th training.
So what kind of training have you gone through to help?
So
Do this.
I have worked, like, I have worked in Rocky Mountain National Park for years as like a hiking guide, but I think, and like I had that prior experience. However, everybody that comes in kind of, we all have to be like WFA certified, so Wilderness First Aid, and then have our ETL, which is like an educational trip leader
Okay.
cert in Maine. And that's basically like you have a lecture, you take a test. It's not that complicated, but it just makes sure that you have like basic principles of
Right.
like leave no trace and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we do a lot of like preparing the kids. Like we want to be ready and enthusiastic,
Right.
and also have risk management. And like if something were to go wrong, or like tonight we were like screwing with our stoves and one of them wouldn't turn on. So
Right.
like we know how to kind of bounce back from that if things were to
Gotcha.
go wrong. And if something more serious happens, like we have the resources that we need, and we're trained to like send certain messages or send certain
Right.
kind of communication back to campus so we can get the help and support that we need.
Gotcha. I heard you guys doing some games down here. So you're doing some
Yeah.
team building
Yeah,
and some
yeah.
icebreakers and things like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
like,
cool.
I mean, there was one that we just like could not figure out, and I was like, I can't.
Was
do
it
this.
about the elephant?
Yes.
Okay.
It was the elephant thing, and then of course it's like some stupid rule that like I was like, oh, you just have to count these, or like it was. I was like, I can't.
Blowing
do
your mind?
this. Yeah.
And
But yeah.
tomorrow you guys will hike on?
Yeah. So tomorrow we go and stay at another campsite farther down. So like we're
You go
moving
south?
southbound.
Okay.
So what's funny is that you'll like, we have another trip moving northbound. So we
Gotcha.
are gonna see them in the middle.
Oh, cool.
But it's so that our cars are on each side. So we drive 2
Smart.
rental cars to the end, and then we'll hike that way. They'll hike this way.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so like there are Colby trips kind of all over right now.
Yeah,
Like,
we've seen a lot of college groups
Yeah.
like this. I think it's wonderful.
yeah, like
So,
we have a lot of backpacking trips out right,
right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for
course,
sharing
of
all that, because I've been
course.
so curious and I've been
Yeah.
wanting to get
Yeah.
someone to share that information. So
Awesome.
Well, good luck.
Thank
I hope you
you.
guys have a great
Thank you so
experience,
much.
and good luck with your junior
Yeah.
year.
Thank you.
All right. We are at the shelter. We've already eaten. We hung our bear bag, and we hung all 3 bags on the same line on a tree. It was super easy. We made it the first try, so that was exciting. Tomorrow it looks like there might be rain, so keeping fingers crossed that that's not the case. We take the ferry over the Kennebec River tomorrow after we have breakfast at the Harrison Pierce Pond Camp. And look at this lake. There's supposed to be like 24 loons that live on this lake. And there's like 40 something loons in this whole area. So that's pretty cool that there's over 20 of them here. So today's hike was pretty easy. We left at 8:30, got here before 5. So I feel like that was good. Yesterday we left at 9 and got back right around 8 o'clock. And it was right around the same distance. So big difference. And that just is attributed to the terrain. So a lot of mud today, a lot of roots. And I think we're going to get a lot of the same tomorrow, but there's going to be one mountain that we're going to have to climb. That'll be like a 1,400-foot climb. After we get done, oh, there's a dragonfly. After we get done with the river crossing with the ferry. So our goal tomorrow is to get 18 miles in, 18 plus, and then the next day 18 plus, and then we'll be in Monson. So we've got some hiking ahead of us. But it feels good to get more miles in for sure. So I'm going to give you a view of this lake. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to go ahead and close out because I'm going to try to get into bed and relax and get a good night's sleep. So I will see you guys tomorrow on the trail. I hope you had a great day. Thank you again for all of your support and encouragement. It means a lot to me, and it definitely helps boost me along the trail. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you on the trail. Bye. Peace out.